Hi, my name is Michelle Leopold. I am in Northern California and I do a lot of activism sharing the story of my son Trevor's life and death. His story is he was a wonderful, inquisitive, beautiful, warm-hearted human being. He loved nature, and some of his passions were animals. We had a zoo growing up, dogs, guinea pigs, rats, lizards. Unfortunately, in the end of his freshman year of high school, he came home one day and said, "Hey, Mom, a bunch of kids were smoking pot and they offered it to me, and I really liked it. And it helps with my anxiety." He'd already had the talks about how marijuana is not good for a developing brain. Um, but I was grateful that he told me. Then he continued to try marijuana over the next several weeks, and rapidly his personality changed. I knew a lot about other drugs, but I didn't know about today's THC. Trevor started behaving absolutely out of his personality. He was mean, he was violent. These are things that we never had seen before. So I did a deep dive on today's THC products, and I realized that there was nothing in common with what Trevor was using as a high schooler and what I tried in my college years. Trevor was most likely using THC vapes, which were hovering around the 70% THC amount, and that had nothing to do with the 2 to 4% pot that I was aware of, that we would make kumbaya jokes. And I realized that most of Trevor's bad behavior was most likely from marijuana. It got so bad that he needed to have somebody else parent him for a while. I could not parent this violent child. He was taken to a rehab when he was, I think, 16 at the time. Hopefully he learned some lessons there. It wasn't very long and an intensive outpatient program. They were testing for cannabis in urinalysis. Marijuana was his drug of choice. We had seen an escalation of his acts of violence the beginning of his junior year in high school. And we were working with an educational consultant to see about sending him to a wilderness program. And then he made up his mind that he was going to go because he ended up being arrested for 2 misdemeanors. He hit 2 police officers. And when he was in juvenile hall, they said, "We understand your parents have been working to try and send you to wilderness. If you agree, we'll use that as your probation program." Fortunately, Trevor agreed. It was a positive experience for him, and he was sober. He went to another program after that and came home the middle of his senior year in high school. And he was that loving, sweet, beautiful boy again. He did well enough in school that he was accepted to 3 Cal State universities, and he chose to go to Sonoma State. But his anxiety ramped up pretty strong once he got to college. And I understand he started experimenting with prescription pills at the time. I understand that Percocets were one of the drugs that he really did enjoy and helped him with his anxiety. The frustrating thing now in hindsight is we had offered to send him to a psychiatrist. And at the treatment programs that he was at, he was meeting with psychiatrists that recommended anti-anxiety medicines, but he preferred to self-medicate. And unfortunately, he bought some dirty 30s, is what I'll call the M30s, that he bought in November of 2019. He and 3 friends crushed 3 of them up on Friday night, November 16th, 2019, and they snorted them for faster highs, and they were fine. They were high, but they were fine. Then the next day, Trevor and his friend went back to Sonoma State to his dorm room, and he told his friend, I'm going to take the last pill that I have. And he took it. His friend thought he was snoring, and his friend woke up next to a dead body the next morning. Unfortunately, it was 2019. It was before there was a wide awareness of what an opioid overdose sounds like, and there was not Narcan at any colleges that I know of. So sadly, we got the phone call from the coroner saying that our beautiful boy had died. I hope to have any opportunity to talk about Trevor. I talk about his life and death, starting with marijuana. And Trevor was diagnosed with cannabis use disorder when he was in rehab. And that definitely led to further experimentation. And I talk about that. And my 3 areas when I do talk are, number 1, just say KNOW. It's so important that kids these days know about the drug supply and the changes, and their parents too, because their parents probably don't know about today's THC products and the fentanyl that's out there. So just say no is the first area I talk about. I talk about 1 pill can kill and 1 line can kill. I am north of San Francisco, and just a couple of weeks ago, we had 2 high school students die from using cocaine. And of course, I talk about it's not just pot, because so many people don't realize today's high potency product. Especially all the things that have nothing to do with that green leafy plant, that are chemically made, that have high potency THC. I'm so grateful to have trained all sorts of people, including the San Francisco Giants safety team, which was an honor that I'd like to think that Trevor had a lot to do with, because that was his favorite baseball team. There's weeks when I'll get multiple phone calls from Europe doing interviews on fentanyl, and I'll joke about, oh, Trevor must be visiting Europe right now and making these interviews happen. Whatever it is, I am grateful for the opportunity to share the story of my beautiful boy, Trevor, because once they are dead, you stop making memories with them, and you stop getting pictures with them. So I often say, I thought my job as a mom would be to teach my sons about the world, but instead I think my job as Trevor's mom is to teach the world about Trevor.